Good afternoon. Is everybody sat down and sitting down? All right. We're going to talk today about a whole bunch of uses of data. We're going to talk about cloud compliance, which is really backup and recovery and auditing capabilities. We're going to talk about recovery of that data and more, and all the other uses for that data that you can put it to. I'm Rick Bannister, I'm CEO of Sesame Software. We've been in business 30 years, and I did consulting in Silicon Valley for about 10 of those years, doing data integration projects with no tools, and very painful. In 2003, we built our first data integration product at Sony Pictures. Built a complete corporate data warehouse in 3 months, and that included building the tool, as well as the data model and the ETL. And we walked away from that with like, hey, this is something. We should stop writing PL SQL and procedural code to do data integrations. So what you're going to see, we call bidirectional data warehousing with reporting and data integration with other data sources and targets. So it's a complete 360 of your data, including all the possible uses of it. So within backup and recovery, we're going to do a demo. It is a PowerPoint demo. It is pre-recorded. The last time we did it this Dreamforce, my guys used the wrong passwords and were recovering the wrong org, so we're not going to do that today. We're going to do a complex account with, children, contacts, opportunities, line items, the whole thing. We're going to delete it, and then we're going to bring it all back. So Sesame Software, like I say, after me and some other guys spent decades in the industry developing the raw code and the methods to do data warehouses for companies like Quantum and Cisco and places like that, we decided it was time to build some tools and get real. We're based in Silicon Valley, but our people are all over the United States. I myself am in San Diego. Privately held and in business over 30 years, no venture capital. We are not going away tomorrow. We're not going to be sold. We're not going to be taken over because we love our jobs. We've got hundreds of customers worldwide, including Salesforce.com's largest customers, the General Electrics, the Bank of Americas, the general, whatever, household worlds with hundreds of millions of records in their databases. We've built a product starting in 2004. It's a very mature product. We feel that's the best in the world to do all the use cases that it's doing. So we have this fully automated bidirectional data warehouse. What does that mean? So the first thing we do is we look at your Salesforce.com data structure. People call that metadata. Well, we surf the partner API to figure out what you've got for a data structure in Salesforce.com. We build a data warehouse on your premises or in Amazon, wherever you want it to be. We build a data warehouse using SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, DB2, Sybase, Postgres, anything you want basically for a modern relational database. We're going to have support for Snowflake in about a month from now, which is a cloud database. We support all kinds of fields, and we put them in the database with the right data types and the right lengths, and we support attachments also. We have patented technology that makes us the fastest and most scalable SaaS data replication product. We are faster than the bulk API. Way faster, because we have patented techniques to do parallel processing that just absolutely smoke it. We can make your Salesforce.com fully compliant with industry mandates. Sarbanes-Oxley, that was the early one. Well, you need to back up your darn corporate data in case you need to get it back. HIPAA, the most significant one to us is SEC Rule 17a, which we were provided a punch list of what that meant by Merrill Lynch in 2008. And I called up the people at the SEC and says, what does this really mean? Are we talking, does it have to be on paper? Does it have to be on fish, 9-track tapes? Says, no, you can use a database. So we built features for the securities industries that backs up your data, keeps all versions of the backup, keeps all deleted records, and is able to quickly restore it without having to hire a team of goons to figure out how to make it work. It's just all built in. So we can restore your data to any point in time at any object, any record, or any field granularity. And we're also going to help you be GDPR compliant, because that's the same thing basically as SEC, Rule 17A and HIPAA all combined. It doesn't help with privacy. If you're going to do a data dump, if you're going to have a breach, that's the thing. But basically, we make sure that you have a backup of that data that is absolutely secure because you own it. We don't own it. So the warehouse looks like this. You've got a database table for every object in Salesforce. You've got a version database with the tables with slightly different names. But before we load the data to the data warehouse, if that record already exists in the data warehouse, we copy that primary copy to the versioned table. And then we update it. First time through, we only get the first version. There's no versions. After that, every time you update a record in Salesforce, it pops into the main warehouse, but it's also in the versions. All the rolling history forever and ever and ever. You would have to physically go in and delete records or truncate those version tables to get rid of it. Fully compliant because that audit trail shows the history of all the fields and all the records. So like in Salesforce, you can turn on history tracking. We automatically do the entire record for everything in Salesforce. You don't have to wonder, God, I wonder if I forgot that new field to turn on history tracking. And in Salesforce history, it only records, I think it's either 20 or 60 fields, depending on when you bought your product and if you pay for it or not. We track everything forever. This product will work with your existing BI reporting solution. Our first major customer of this, matter of fact, our first customer, period, of the Salesforce warehouse was Business Objects, who slapped a Business Object universe on top of it. They ran all their corporate reporting from the warehouse with 5-minute latency on the key tables. We can connect. We're bringing out extensions to the product to handle not only Salesforce.com, but we can now connect to almost 100 different data sources. We could do NetSuite. We can do Pardot, which is a Salesforce marketing system. We can do SAP. Depending on which version of the SAP, we might have to get different drivers from our driver third-party company. We can do Microsoft Dynamics. We can do all these different products because we view the world as a database. And we use Java drivers or native API calls to drag all this stuff down to the cloud and create an on-prem data warehouse that exactly mirrors it, that you can do so much with. We can support 10 or 20 different relational databases, Azure Warehouse, MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle, Postgres, the list goes on and on and on. Next month, we're going to support Snowflake, which is a cloud database. And the neat thing about the product is we can teach you the entire product in 1 hour. So, you look at these other integration vendors, and they have these drop and drag interfaces. Wow, those look beautiful. They're so easy. All I have to do is some draw lines. Well, what if you want to do a transformation? Oh, that's another week-long class. Okay, any of those products take a month of training. I was at a Gartner show 4 years ago, and one company, which will go unmentioned, was next to us, and one of the people in their little audience that was watching came to me and says, well, what's your deal? I said, well, we're like theirs, but our product takes 1 hour to learn. And he said to me, well, that's interesting because I went to a month of classes and I've been back on the job trying to use the product for 2 weeks. I feel like I'm part of a community. It's a great company, but I can't make the darn thing work. And he blamed himself. No, it was the product. It was product design for people who built the product. We design our products for database programmers who know just a little bit of SQL, or in the case of our replication product, you don't have to know anything except the passwords to your Salesforce and the password of the database. It's entirely self-service. Common customer complaints: little or no ability to fully backup, recover, restore data on demand. Since we came out with this product, there have been about 3 or 4 other products that also have a backup. The problem is they own your physical data. They're keeping it in flat files on their servers, and you can't get access to it, except you can stage a recovery. But you can't do the extensibility of being able to do reporting. You can't integrate it. It's just a flat file. It's their cloud thing, and you can't even see that flat file. So how do you know if it's even working? One of them stopped selling. The first one I ever ran into, they already stopped selling their product because it was so unreliable, and they didn't even have a recovery interface. There's a couple out there, they do it too, but they don't give you physical access to your data. I'm going to be honest, we started a cloud-hosted web service backup and recovery facility using IBM SoftLayer as a colo a year ago. Not one new customer bought it because they all go, I want my data. I want you to have the data. I want my data. I want to be able to report on it and integrate it and make sure it's there. And I can't trust these other vendors because I don't know how the thing works, and ultimately I need to see my data in a database. So that's what we are. The premise can be Amazon, Microsoft Cloud, any cloud you want. It's just as long as you're in control of that. So the kinds of problems that people have, and I've been around doing this 12 years, I've seen a lot of stories. One of our earliest customer was a bank in New York with high wealth. It was their high wealth division. And I got a call at 2 in the morning. That's when we were a 2-person company. And the guy on the other end said, he's the programmer for the bank, and his boss created a new thing in the schema called the bank. And he related all their customer contact accounts to one of 2 banks. And then he deleted one of the banks. And he set it up as a master detail relationship, so half their data was gone. And it was 5 in the morning his time, and if they opened and people started calling up and saying, how many $1 million do I have today? Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have having a record of you having an account with us, ma'am. It would have been hellfire. They were back up by 9 o'clock. Nobody even knew it, except the guy who made the mistake. And his boss never even knew it. Okay? Saved his job. I get big bear hugs from that guy, and it's been 12 years later. He comes up to me at every trade show, thanks me so much. So you can accidentally delete it, especially if you're a Salesforce admin. We had another customer whose CFO was also the admin. She got a little annoyed with her employer, so she decided the day she quit without notice to go into Salesforce, delete all her data, empty the recycle bin, and walk out the front door. That's a crime. It's a federal crime. And we had a backup, and we were able to recover all the data. No damage. I've had people call me on a Sunday afternoon. How do I get out of this pickle? I just deleted every single contact in the database. Run the recovery, merge them, no problems. The securities industry needs accountability and a chain of evidence, so that if you say you're a stockbroker and you get a call someday from little Tommy, and Tommy says, my grandpa has an account here, I think, and I'm now his grandson, and I want to know if he's still got an account, how many $1 million he's got in there. Well, you've got a complete audit trail of that thing, even if it was deleted from Salesforce. You've got a database, so you can recover that data. So we help make Salesforce.com compliant. Okay, for the SEC industry, you got to have a product like ours, or you're not meeting SEC Rule 17A if you're a stockbroker. So what we do to solve them is we have replication frequently of just changed records, not the whole thing. We don't back up the whole thing. We don't waste all day and all night eating up your APIs to back up the whole thing. We just do what's changed, and you can run the replication every 15 or 20 minutes. We also have a real-time mode that has 1 second latency, bidirectional. So we capture and archive the deleted records. Had a couple people come by our booth today and say, I want to delete half the data in there because it's junk old data. We don't need it anymore. Fine. Go in the database, mark it, tag it with a B, so you basically can send it up to Salesforce as a delete, but it's still in the database. If you screw up and delete the wrong data, you can still get it back. Okay? So again, it's on-premise and secure. At some point, if you can put everything in the cloud, you can, but that would be an Amazon thing. Use Amazon if you want, but you can have it. It'll run on a laptop. Okay, so here's the demo. This Vogel guy is our partner manager, okay? So there's an account here with contacts and opportunities, okay? And we run a job to run a backup. Push that little button there, the running man. So we're doing an incremental backup, so it's very quick. We can go through all 300 standard objects in like 5 minutes. 3 seconds an object. Okay, do a search. That's gone. We've deleted the account, ain't there. It's in the database though. So if you hit the little recovery job, first we do another incremental download. That captures the fact that those records were deleted. Okay? And then the next job is a recovery job that, in this case, looks for recently deleted records in the database. Hit that button, boom, they're back there. Works every time, except at Dreamforce, because we were using the wrong login. Okay? And you see all the child records there? It'll not only recover parent-child relationships, but it'll do recursive relationships all automatically. You say, recover account is the command line option, and it'll chase the whole chain, including account-to-account relationships, contact-to-contact, account contact, 3 levels down, back up to account. It'll handle them all. So these are a smattering of our large customers. We have Bank of America, their home loan division, what used to be Countrywide. They have 160 million accounts. Boom, into the database. We have 4 approved patents and 7 more in process that'll be done this year. We have patented all sorts of technology that does parallel processing. We don't use the bulky API. It's got too many limits for us. So bulk API requires on files. You build a file, give it to the bulk loader, it sends them all up to Salesforce, and when it gets into Salesforce, every single record has the exact same timestamp. Okay, we don't like that. So we'll break down the time ranges when you bring it down to a 1 second interval. So we get through all the data officially. And other vendors hate us for that because they can't do it, except they use the bulk loader. So the product is fast, it's reliable, it's in on the market for 12 years. We've got all these customers and hundreds more. And I invite a conversation. It says I've got 2 minutes left. What would anybody like to ask? Do you feel the need? If you're not got a backup of your Salesforce.com data, you're going to walk into work someday, especially if you're the admin, and you better have a resume handy. It's that simple. If you're the guy that loses your Salesforce.com data, boom. Any questions? Okay. Our booth, Sesame Software. We're down in the back. Again, we've been around for 30 years. Product's been around for 12 years. It was supported by the things we did as a consulting company for 10 years and actually longer. I built Cisco's first data warehouse. And our head of professional services worked on the data model for it. We go way back. So all the things that have been annoying us, we're not doing. By the way, we're also hosting a Silicon Valley Salesforce user group meeting in Sunnyvale on April 19th at 7 p.m. at the Turmeric Restaurant. Go on the Silicon Valley Salesforce user group page, sign up, come out and enjoy us. All right? Thank you very much.